students and theater fans, my name is Linedy Genao and I'm so happy that you're here with us today. Inside Broadway has a very special treat for you just in time for Halloween. Now, I know that this has been an extremely difficult year for so many of us for various reasons, but that doesn't mean that we can't make the best out of it and have a little fun, especially for Halloween. Especially since we don't know what's going to happen with Halloween this year, which is why we're going to help you do something right at home. So something that I've loved to do since I was little was obviously dress up for Halloween, but also use makeup to transform into whatever character I wanted to be. I would use my mom's makeup. Sometimes she didn't know that I did, but that's all right. And then I would, you know, paint myself to be whatever I wanted to be, a cat, a dog, a witch, whatever. So what we're going to do here today is help you use makeup from your local drugstore that's so easily accessible to become whatever character you want to be. And that's the beauty of stage and theater. You can use costumes, wigs, and especially makeup to transform into whatever you want to be. And that's what we're going to do today. And this is something that you can do at home with your families at whatever time, Halloween or not. So let's get started. Now let's meet my very talented friend and one of Broadway's top hair and makeup supervisors, Victoria Tinsman.
Hi guys!
So Victoria and I met a few years ago on Your Feet the Musical on Broadway, and she was one of our incredible swings in the hair department. So, you know, each of our ensemble tracks had about 4 or 5 wigs, so she was backstage getting those wigs on, making us look beautiful, so I'm very grateful for that. Let's get to know you, Victoria. So where are you originally from and how did you get started in hair and makeup?
I was born in Brooklyn. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and I got started in hair and makeup because I loved theater growing up, and I just wanted it to be a part of my life. I decided that performing wasn't for me, so I found something else that I loved, which was transforming people with their hair and their makeup for theater.
That's amazing. A lot of the times when we're in the audience, we see the glitz and glam, but we don't know what really goes on behind the scenes, and people like Victoria are so important because they help us become that character that you see in the audience. Now, where did you go to school for hair and makeup?
So I first went to school at Netl Institute of Technology, which is a vocational school that I did during high school, which was great, and I highly recommend doing that. I got my cosmetology license, which is something that you need to get into the union here in New York. And then I went to the University of North Carolina School of the Arts and got my Bachelor's of Fine Arts in wigs and makeup. And that was some of the best times of my life, and I'm so grateful for that education.
Wow. What advice would you give to students that would love to pursue the career that you're in right now?
Honestly, go for it. Go for it full on and practice. And just, if you're passionate about something, don't be afraid to take 2 steps forward and just go after it.
Thank you so much, Victoria.
No
I can't wait to see what makeup look she's going to show us. And now I'm going to introduce another very, very special friend to Inside Broadway. He is a Broadway triple threat. He was seen in Newsies, Pretty Woman, which I'm so grateful I got to see and got to see him in it, and recently seen on TV in season 21 of Big Brother. And that is Tommy Bracco.
Yay!
Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to see you again. It's been a couple of years, so
I know.
We met a few years ago at the out of town of Pretty Woman. And
yeah. We were in Chicago.
Yep.
You were doing another show in Chicago, and we were doing the out of town tryout for Pretty Woman. Victoria and I, because we did the show together.
Yes. So let's get to know you, because everyone needs to know who this man is. Where are you from?
I'm from Staten Island, New York, so I'm a New Yorker.
Yes. Yes. And how did you start performing and dancing and everything?
I started performing because of schools. You know, I love doing the school plays. Wizard of Oz, I played the lion, and then I went to LaGuardia High School, which is the school that the movie Fame is based off of.
I did not know that.
Wow. So I went there as a drama major for 4 years. I was dancing at a local dance studio outside of school, and that's kind of how it all started. And I got bit by the bug, and I never gave up. That's it.
Yes, that's incredible. What is your favorite show and also most challenging role?
I loved doing the show Newsies because I loved the cast, I loved the camaraderie, I loved, you know, Newsies was such a big deal when it first came out that it made so many of my dreams come true. I got to do the Thanksgiving Day Parade, the Tony Awards, perform on The View, Good Morning America, record a cast album. All of these things that I always dreamed of doing, I got to do it with Newsies for the first time. But with Pretty Woman, the role that I got to play was so much fun. So
Oh my
it's
gosh.
so hard to say which is my favorite, because when it comes to, you know, Newsies, it was about the show, but Pretty Woman, it was about the role.
Yes.
So it's tough to say. I really can't. Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, can you tell us about the importance of education and training, especially in this
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's extremely important to always be training. We always say in this industry, when you get the job, that's vacation. The actual job is auditioning, is networking, is taking class nonstop. We have to always be working to better ourselves.
Yes.
Nonstop. That's where the real work, that's what the real work is. When you get the job, that's vacation. We love doing that. We love performing 8 times a week. That's the easy
The
part.
dream.
That's the dream. It's the getting the job. That's the actual job.
All right, everyone, let's get started.
Okay guys, let's get started. So Tommy, today I'm going to be turning you into a zombie.
Uh-oh, I'm scared.
So guys, a lot of makeup is available for you at any local chain drugstore. This is a little kit I bought for Halloween. They also have a bunch of different colors. They have these little crayons that you can get that are actually for face painting. So there are a lot of things available for you at a discounted rate. This one is really great because it has a little bit of everything. So this is what we're going to be using today. Sanitize! All right, let's do it. So we're turning you into a zombie. So we're going to make you like a greenish, grayish, yellowish, looking like your skin is rotting a little bit.
Oh,
okay?
Gosh.
So let's do it. Let's do it.
Yay! Wow, that color is gross.
It is
and I mean that in the best
gross
way.
and green. So the fun thing about Halloween is you can be like kind of really messy with it, and especially with a zombie, and it can still look really, really good. So we're just going to go ahead and start getting this makeup on his face. So because he's a zombie, we don't need it to completely cover the whole, all of the skin, because we kind of want it to look like his skin is rotting, so he still has a little bit of his human flesh left on it. About this makeup is it comes off really, really easily. All you need is a little bit of soap and water or a makeup wipe, and it comes right off.
I feel like alphabet.
Okay, so now we have a nice little layer of green all over his face. We're going to go in with some yellow and give him some highlights. So when you use a lighter color in makeup, it pulls that part of the face forward, so it gives you more dimension. So that's what a highlight is used for. So we're going to really give him a prominent front brow. Then, same thing that we did with the highlight, we're going to go in with some black and make that part of the face recede. So it's going to look like it's sinking in. I'm doing a technique called stippling, which is basically just pressing it onto the face instead of dragging. I'm doing nice little short movements just to give it a lot more texture. We don't want it to look like nice and smooth. So I'm kind of going to go in with the black and the green and stipple on top of each other. So then, since we want to make his cheekbones look nice and sunken, turn your head this way. We're going to go in with that black on the cheeks and stipple that in. So then we also want to sink in his eyes. Close your eyes for me. Still using this stippling motion of just dabbing.
Wow.
So now we can kind of see the face taking shape. So after I did the black to sink in, I'm going to go back in with a little bit with the yellow and make the highlights pop out a little bit more. Let's dirty up your mouth a little bit.
Let's do it.
So now I'm gonna go in with some light gray and just give a little bit of like rotting look. And you don't have to have any rhyme or reason to it, just kind of put it where you want to. Then we're gonna go with some black and just hollow out his neck a little bit. Still using that stippling motion. This makeup works really well with the stippling motion, so I would stick with that pretty much throughout this whole application. I'm also going in around his jawline to make that look like it's sinking in as well with the black.
Like I'm dead. This is amazing.
Okay, so next we're gonna go in with a little bit of the red. And we're gonna kind of put this around his eyes. It just kind of makes him look a little more creepy. Dab it on. We'll go in with some more black and do some more detail work. Ah, you scared me. Some little wrinkles. Going around his nostrils with some black just to deepen that. And then we'll go in with some more black and we'll give him a little bit of eye bags to make him look really tired. So one more time, I'm gonna go in with the gray and stipple on some highlight. Just give him a little more roddy look. Now for the fun part. This is a really simple and easy way to make it look like your skin is falling off with things that you might already have in your home. So if your mom has some eyelash glue, that's what you need, and also a tissue. So all you have to do is take apart your tissue, rip it apart, take your eyelash glue, decide where you want the skin to be falling off. Let's do one right here on the cheek. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of this eyelash glue down. Take our tissue. Put it on. Put another layer of eyelash glue on top of it. So eyelash glue is made from latex. So if you have a latex allergy, do not do this. We're gonna let that dry for a little bit. Put down our latex, put down our tissue. Add more eyelash glue. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add another tissue. I like to rip the edges away so that there's no straight hard edges because we want it to look really natural and organic. Now you can layer this up a lot if you want a really deep wound, or you can just keep it a couple layers just to look like his skin is flaking off. But you can also use this technique to make a deep cut if you want to do like a gash or a scar for another makeup. So now that that's mostly dry, the glue is going to dry clear. We're going to go over and paint it. So I'm going in with some of the green and just again using that stipple technique and painting over it. I'm gonna start with the green. And I'm gonna add more stippling of the other colors on top of that. So this is actually called a stipple sponge. It's made for stippling, and it actually comes with this Halloween kit that you can buy at your local drugstore. can go into your mom's makeup kit and get a little tweezers. And you want to start to pick at the tissue that you laid down. And start peeling it away from the skin. Go slowly. If you have any facial hair, this, I probably wouldn't do it, so make sure you're cleanly shaved. So start pulling it away. You can see it coming away from the skin. So now it looks like this is peeling flesh from the skin.
It feels like it's my skin.
Then what we want to do is go in and paint the skin underneath. A little bit of black, a little bit of green, a little bit of yellow.
That is absolutely insane. Do you see this? This is amazing.
And I like to go with a little bit of yellow because that makes it look really pussy and gross. And then we go in on the other side and we can do the same thing. The more layers of tissue and eyelash glue you have, the more you have to work with. I only did 2 layers, so they're not going to be that crazy of wounds, but if you do more layers and let them dry, you'll get a really cool effect. Okay, so now we're basically done. All we have to do is add some blood. This also comes in the kit. All right, so I'm just gonna squeeze this right into this little wound and let it drip down. Blood comes in a little squeeze packet. Makes it easy for drips. Let's give him a little bloody nose. And let's make him bleed a little from his mouth. Like he just had a nice meal of human flesh.
My favorite.
And then you can basically add as much or as little blood as you want. You don't even have to add blood. If you want your zombie to be bloodless, that's fine. But we're basically done. Hey guys, now we're going to start our makeup on Linedy.
And while we're doing our makeup on Linedy, let's get to know her a little more. Linedy, can you tell everybody how you got into theater? Because I know you have a very different story. It's different than most people.
Yeah, so I love to sing since I was little. I grew up singing in church and doing community theater and theater in my high school. And I went to school for business because, you know, a career in the arts is very, very difficult. And so I told myself, okay, I'm gonna apply to the 3 best schools for musical theater. If I don't get in, then it's meant to be that I'm not meant to do this. And I didn't get in. So I went to UConn, the University of Connecticut, for business administration, and I worked in banking for 5 years. And I still, again, during that time, I did community theater and I still took voice lessons because it's my passion. And one day I went to the open call of On Your Feet. I was bored on my lunch break and I saw the audition breakdown. I went on BroadwayWorld.com. That was the only place I knew to look for auditions. And I saw that they were looking for Latinx singer, dancer, and actors for the story of Gloria Estefan, for the developmental lab. And I was like, what is a lab? What is On Your Feet? But I was like, oh my gosh, I'm Latina. I don't have to pretend to be anybody else. Let me just try. Let me, you know, Gloria Estefan, I grew up listening to her music. Let me just try. And thankfully, my boss is a huge theater fan. I got the day off. I went to the open call, which, as many of you know, I guess I compare it to American Idol. Anybody that thinks they can sing like goes, because you don't have to be union. And sometimes if you're not in the union, you might not be seen. And I went to the open call with a headshot that I took on my iPhone 4. It was a selfie. It was so embarrassing. Printed at Walgreens. and I booked my Broadway debut with high school experience and with community theater experience, and I left my banking job, and here's my life 5 years later, from banking to Broadway, and I pray every day that I don't have to go back to banking.
That is so inspiring. It really is. You know, it just goes to show you that if you have the passion and the talent and the drive, you can do this. That's all you need.
So I'm just going in with some fun colors. You can really have fun with this. It doesn't matter what color it is. That's the whole point of this makeup. So I'm just kind of going in with orange first and going around the sides and up on the cheekbones, around the mouth. And then I added some yellow in between on different sections. And then I'm just gonna blend them together, which basically just means that you're just kind of pulling both of the colors together without completely mixing them. So you have a yellow and it gradually fades to orange. We're gonna let what she's going to be a surprise.
Very exciting. Linedy, can you tell us more about yourself? Where are you from?
I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and then raised in Connecticut. I moved when I was 10 years old, so I was pretty much, raised New Englander, New Yorker, you know, back and forth.
Okay, so I'm a huge fan of Gloria Estefan. Can you tell us what it was like to work with her? You got to portray her in the show. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a dream come true, honestly. I will never forget the first day that she walked into rehearsals. I started crying so hard because that's when it, not that it hadn't felt real, but that was when it finally felt real. Like, I was like, oh my goodness, this is Gloria Estefan. I've only ever seen her on TV or on her CDs. This is insane. And she hugged me. She was like, don't cry. And it was amazing to work with her. Her and Emilio were both such a huge part of the process of creating the show. They were really involved in everything. And it was really nice to get to know them on a personal level. And you know, they became humans to us rather than celebrities like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe when I'm next to them. They were our friends, they were our family. So it was an incredible experience. She like met my family, and you know, we follow each other on Instagram, like I have her phone number, so I was like, I don't know, you know,
that's amazing.
It's just really cool. It was an incredible experience.
She's somebody that inspired so many of us. She changed music. She made a huge impact in thousands of lives, millions of lives, and now you're working with her. Speaking of making an impact, there's a show that I'm a huge fan of that I know that you've done, and I want to talk about it. Dear Evan Hansen. Tell us about it. You went on tour with Dear Evan Hansen.
I did. I went on tour twice with Dear Evan Hansen. So right before quarantine happened, literally 3 or 4 days before, I had just gotten off of the first national tour of Dear Evan Hansen, which was incredible. I was a vacation swing. I understudied the roles of Alana Beck and Zoe Murphy, and that was my first tour ever. And I dreamt of touring the country and doing what I love and getting paid to do what I love. It's the dream. So I'm so grateful I got to experience that. But I know how impactful that show has been to the world, and especially to our younger audiences, and I was so grateful to be a part of that. It has such a strong message, and especially as a Latina being a part of that show. I believe that there is one Latina Zoe understudy on Broadway, but other than that, I don't think that there were many, so that was very important to me because, you know, On Your Feet was about Latinos, and I loved representing my culture and who I am, but also it was great to not have to do that and be able to portray a character authentically and in a show that has such a powerful message.
So I've just gone in with a lot of fun colors. I've used orange and pink and yellow and just slowly ombre'd them together, which is when just one color fades to another color. And you can really do this with any color scheme. So you could do like purple to blue, or really anything, green to yellow. You could be a lizard, you know, you can do whatever you want with this using this technique.
I'm buying this literally for the pink.
The pink is fun. Now I'm just going in around her mouth with some white. I'm just gonna go right over her lips.
Oh my gosh!
basically, after I get the color how I want it onto the face, I use the same stipple technique that we used in Tommy's makeup, and you just dab the makeup and it does a nice blending. So I'm going right on the line where we did the colorful makeup and the white to blend it out. And sometimes you'll get a little bit of the color back into the white, and that's okay. Just go back over it with the white. It all comes together in the end. Right now it doesn't look like much, but I promise you, it will. Highlights too, so I'm just gonna go right under the eye and on top of the cheekbone. Now we're going to go in and do some more detail work, and the shape is going to start to form. So I'm just going around the white part and adding little tiny thin lines going into the orange to create fur. I like to do both small and long lines, short and long, just to make it look more natural and like real fur. So now we're gonna go in and add some black detailing, which is the hard part. Where do I want to start? We're going to add some more black detailing, and I think that this might give it away. This is so cool! I love my job. So now we're gonna give her little whiskers. Now we're gonna go and give her some really nice big stripes. So now I'm just going in with white and doing a couple of little detail stripes along with the black. So the last step is to apply some eyelashes. We got some really fun fantasy ones from our local drugstore. And we're also going to use the eyelash glue that we used previously on Tommy as the zombie. I think it makes it look really good. On the lash, on the strip of the lash. Let it dry a little bit. So same thing, put a little line along the strip of the lash. We're just gonna put it right on top of her own natural lash. Lashes have feathers on the end, so they're a lot of fun.
Wow.
So she really is a fantastical feline.
It's hard not to blink.
No, blink all you want. There we have it, a fantastical feline.
With some hoops on it. Thank you so much.
You're
This is
so
so cool. Who would have thought makeup you could buy at your local drugstore?
Mm-hmm.